Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Week, my Wednesday edition. Today with me, I've got a special guest. It's Ben Leonard. Ben, how's it going, pal? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. Been looking forward to this ever since Stevie got in touch and said, "Will you do one?" So yeah, looking forward.
Did you listen to the one with his sister? It's actually quite a
Yeah,
heartwarming story, that one, isn't it?
yeah, it was. It was good, mate. Yeah, I texted him after saying, yeah, it was. It was really good, and yeah, I think that's why I wanted to get on and tell my story as well.
Well, let's do it. So let's start where we normally start. Let's go back to the start. Why Wednesday, when Wednesday, all the rest of it. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, it's a bit cliche, like, but yeah, it's my old man. He back in '91. He was a big Wednesday fan, and he took me to Wembley when we beat Man United, and Sheridan scored. I'm 38 now, so what were I then? About 7. And yeah, I can just remember being in the old Wembley, and I can remember like the seats, they didn't have backs on them, and I was stood up on the seats. And my old man says that I was asleep for most of the game, even when Sheridan scored. But I can remember, I think that's like my first football memory, looking over my left shoulder and seeing Pearson lift the cup. And that's something that stuck with me. So yeah, that was how I got into Wednesday, and then from there it's just been yeah.
Like it's been a soap opera going downhill since there, hasn't it?
Well,
There's a lot of dads across South Yorkshire that are responsible for a lot of sad middle-aged men now. You know what I mean?
No, it's spot on. It is. Yeah. Obviously, after that, we had a bit of success in the couple of years to follow, and then yeah, it did start to go downhill pretty rapidly. But there's been a few highlights along the way.
Well, let's talk about them then. So after that day at Wembley, which I must admit ain't the worst indoctrination I've ever heard, to be fair. Like, that's not too shabby, is it? That's not a bad start. And then so what was it? Did you say, Dad, thought that was great, I want to go every week if I can?
Yeah, it were, yeah. My parents split when I was younger, actually, and then like I think it was when I went over to my dad's at weekend, he always made the effort to take me, and we kept going. I had a season ticket on the cop for a few years, and I remember one of the gate, like sometimes my old man used to like want to get off to miss the traffic. I remember nagging him one day. I said, "No, Dad, we're staying." And I think it were Arsenal at home, and Lee Briscoe scored in the last minute with like a bit of an audacious chip in front of the cop, and I think we won it.
Like a cross shot thing,
yeah, cross shot thing into the top corner. And yeah, then I was just like nagging him every week. He used to take me to the ground early to get autographs and stuff like that. And yeah, it just sort of spiraled out of control, my love for the club from then on. And then I don't know, I'm sure that there's a few other lads that I know on Twitter and stuff that did this when doing, but the North Stand as it is now, it used to be on a Saturday morning before the games. Used to go and be able to play football. I don't know if you remember Steve Adams, Addo, who used to work for the club, who's sadly not with us no more. But they used to do like Saturday morning football camps under the North Stand, and where you just play a bit of five-a-side, with the green indoor balls and that, and did that, and then yeah, go and watch the game after. It was good.
I actually didn't know that, because my season ticket was on the cop from like the early to the late 90s. Like, and I was going for 10 years, and I had no idea that. Tell me about that.
So what the ticket office is now? Not a ticket office and things now. That used to be a sports hall,
right?
And yeah, they used to be a bit like football in the community that Marcus Bramall and that run now, but it was like football sessions in there on a Saturday morning, and yeah, and then I think it must have been early to middle, yeah, but no, actually it's probably towards the end of the night they turned that into the actual ticket office and mega store that you see that's there now. But yeah, it did used to be a bit of a sports hall and that.
Because I think I still call the mega store the Owl Shop. I think I still refer to it as that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That changed a bit. I remember going in that owl shop, and there used to be stairs upstairs to it and that, but that's all disappeared and that now.
Yeah, I used to have a mezzanine with even more overpriced tat that we all wanted to buy, that we all needed to get. I remember there was a big clamour for the as I just started the comp, there was a big clamour for those pin badges that used to get. I think they had Hurst, Sheridan, and Waddle.
Yeah, that's
And then you had a guy that was just generic Sheffield Wednesday, and I bought him because I didn't want to plant my flag in one player, and I got teased because I bought what they referred to as cheapo man because he was a pound cheaper. So you know, I needed a better paying paper round to pay for my tat. So moving forward, then, let's get into your teenage years. So we're talking like you know mid 90s now at this point. So you know at this point I want to know your favorite players, and normally at this point I ask for favorite players outside of those three in Hurst, Sheridan, and Waddle. I mean, who were the ones that caught your eye?
Well, they were obviously them. Like I like Palmer, Colin Palmer. He was one of mine, but he was a bit further back, I suppose. And then I don't know. It came, and then it were a bit. I used to like Emerson Tome. I thought he was like he was a bit of a legend. What a man mountain he were, and I was gutted when he went to Chelsea. He was one that stood out for me. I'd probably say him. Yeah, and I think, God, was he in the team? Well, man, I remember he took me and a few mates to Wolves away when I think Pressman scored that penalty and we won. Did we? Yeah, we won on penalties away. Was that?
No, didn't we draw, or was that?
Was it?
Didn't we draw that one?
Can't remember. Pressman scored that worldy penalty away.
Yeah, I think we lost that one. I tell you where I was. I remember watching that penalty shootout in Harvey's nightclub in Rotherham. There was a bit where you could hire out the nightclub, and I think everybody had their like 13th, 14th birthday there for like. Yeah. You know, and there was one every week, and it was like a midweek game. And I watched Kevin Pressman score this guy. I think it was Chris Waddle missed that day as well. But you know, that could have been another penalty shootout. I can't remember. They all seem to go into one after a while. So Emerson Tome, a player that you know we actually got actual money for, which did, you know when you look back and you think, God, we actually sold a player for actual money. I could probably name, you know, Tome. Joao, I'm struggling. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, you're right. We've never been a selling club, and definitely under the current owner, he don't like to sell at all either. So, but listen, we've had, there's been some real good players come and go from Hillsborough, but selling wise, we haven't brought much revenue into the club for that way, unfortunately.
And we wonder why we're skint.
Yeah,
so anyway, let's get into the teenage years. So this is when the away days start creeping in.
Yeah.
Like for example, there was one day where I got back late on a Saturday. My dad went, "Where the bloody hell you been?" I went, "Watford." He went, "What?" and it turned out I'd left and just gone to Watford for a day. I didn't think twice about it. I went on what was called the Intercity Owl. Yeah, got a coach, got to Watford, drew 1-1, came back. Mark Kennedy scored, and Nicholas Alexanderson came back and had a day out. You know what I mean? And my dad went, "How have you gone? What Watford?" I went, "Yeah, I went to Watford." Like, what?
I used to save your dinner money. Tell my mother, what am I doing? Save the $250 a day that she gave me. And I used to pay for the Intercity Owl. I remember going with my mates to Aston Villa away on I think. Remember where Efan Akoku scored in the League Cup one game, and I remember going on the Intercity Owl to that and getting back real late. Yeah,
they. In fact, I remember that game quite well. I was there for that one. I think it was 2-2. And it was about 2001 and 2002, something like that. And I had this little tiny Fiesta. And I got lost. It was the first time I'd ever been on Spaghetti Junction around Birmingham. And I just absolutely got bloody lost everywhere. I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I shouldn't be driving around there. I was early 20s as it was. So you must have some big stories from the away days, Lenny. You must have some good ones to tell.
One of my funniest and memories of away days. We went when it was Cardiff in the final. And I got like obviously a few different mates. Some couldn't go down until the day, and whereas me and another mate says, "Now stuff this. We're getting on it. We're getting down there early doors." We went on the Friday. We got no hotel, nothing booked. But that before the game, anyway, we slept in his van in a car park.
Brilliant.
In Weston-super-Mare. Went out in Weston-super-Mare. But that's where I think a few other Wednesdayites met up before, and we had a few beers there. And obviously, we gets up in the morning out his van. We're like, no shower. We went to the swimming baths at Weston-super-Mare. Jumped in the shower in the swimming baths. Got kicked out of there and ready. Went straight to Cardiff. I think we got a bottle of White Lightning, and yeah, we were on it ready, and what a day that were.
I genuinely love that you literally were halfway there. Whoa, Western Supermare. You know what I mean? There's a song in it there somewhere.
Yeah.
If I, I'm annoyed we've sang that something like 18 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd have been a good song for the day. So you literally went into a leisure centre to get yourself a shower.
That was it. Yeah. Leisure centre. We needed a shower before the game, and to get ready. We were tight back then, and we didn't want to pay for an hotel. We wanted to save all our money for ale and stuff on the weekend. And yeah, jumped in the shower. I think they'd sussed what we were doing, and they came in like and says, "Come on, lads, you need to get yourself out." But we were all sorted by then, and yeah, went onto the ground. It was good. Yeah.
Knowing my luck, I'd have been the geezer that had still needed a shower by the time everybody got kicked out, and then I'd be the one stinking for the rest of the day that literally smelled like he slept in a van. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd have been me. So, I mean, talk about Cardiff then. So you went down there. I mean, that's walking out into that stadium, because it's quite, Wembley's like a bowl.
It's quite steep, isn't it? Yeah.
Quite steep was the Millennium Stadium, and I'll never forget walking out there going, Jesus, this is, because we took a load of their tickets as well, and because Hartlepool played in blue and white stripes and all, like, there was something special about that day, weren't there?
No, yeah, it was mega, and it obviously, like Wembley just recently, it's like the whole weekend and the build up to it, and it's that obviously makes the memories even better, and obviously the result. And I think for me, it was, you went into that stadium, it was huge, and then I think like when the information started filtering through that McLean was fit and he was on the bench and that, and just the noise and like when the players come out to warm up and things, and the atmosphere. I've been to quite a few football games, different teams and stuff, and you are biased towards Wednesday, but like that atmosphere at Cardiff stands out. That atmosphere away at Brighton away in the second leg at the playoffs in 2015, and like some of the atmospheres at Hillsborough, it's unbelievable. Like I've been to England games and stuff, and the better it's a lot better than that when it gets going.
I live in Brighton and I work in hospitality, and I met the bars manager who was in charge back then in 2016, and he says we still tell stories about that day that Sheffield Wednesday came down.
What an away day that was! Like it was mad, and there was a massive scramble for tickets, and I live in London. I had this Aussie lad living with me at the time, and he'd never been to a football game. Unfortunately, I've got a spare ticket. So his first game, and he's now like an avid Wednesday fan, but lives in Australia, was Brighton away, the second leg of the playoff. And he was like, I remember I went down with my mate Ash and him, and just seeing him and how we were in amongst the massive. It were funny to see. And like he's obviously gone back to Australia, and he's got a few of his pals like that are Wednesday fans now. And I work in a school in London, and I've got a few of the kids that aren't really attributed to a football team now. I'm a Wednesday fan, and they'll walk down the corridors at work and go, "Well, Wednesday, sir, aren't we?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." So they can mess about, and they can do things as long as they keep their allegiances with us. I'm sort of on a stampede. Anyone that's not really attributed to a club, I'm always like, right, you're a Wednesday fan now and stuff. Yeah.
I think they call that child abuse now, Lenny. You know what I mean? I think
we can't say that too much, but yeah, no.
But yeah, I mean, do you find that being in the South though as well? Like I've been in the South a number of years. After I left Hallam, I went down to a station down in Southampton. Not long after Cardiff.
Yeah.
And I find that that's my thing. You know what I mean? Like when you introduce yourself as a Sheffield Wednesday fan, they kind of look at you as if to go, "Oh, so you're a proper football fan?"
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, they do, and it's like it's amazing just how many Wednesday fans crop up in unusual places. And again, like fortunate enough to sort of see a few different parts of the world. And only recently I were in Thailand. When was it? April time, when we started to mess up. I think it were Oxford away. We went over there. My mate lives in India, but we went to Thailand for the weekend. I said, "Mate, we've got to find a boozer that's that's got the Wednesday match on or something. So gets on Twitter, finds Thailand Owl. We ends up, cut a long story short, the Friday night, we're in this bar called Witherspoons in Thailand. There must have been 25 of us Wednesday fans in Pattaya in Thailand watching the match. But yeah, I've been Dubai Owls. They've got them. I went on holiday with a missus to Lanzarote couple of years ago, and I said, right, we're going out, and we ended up in that Owl and the Pussycat Lanzarote Owls, and there's just Wednesday fan clubs all over the place, and I think that's where obviously the name Massive comes from. No matter where sort of you go in the world, they've heard of Sheffield Wednesday, and I know a lot of that probably does come from the glory years ago and stuff. But yeah, even down London, like the London Owls Club, and I've been in the Mabel's Tavern a few times when I can't get up to Hillsborough, and like it's packed. There's like 60, 70 Wednesday fans on a Tuesday night watching the game in a little boozer in London. It's just
where's that? Where is that? Because it's a Mabel's Tavern.
Yeah, Mabel's Tavern. So King's Cross Station. You come out of there, you just turn right, and you go up the road towards Euston. It's about a 5-minute walk from there. But if you're ever down and around, yeah, you need to. And there's a game on Sky, and you can't get up. It's normally when midweekers you can get up, but you can't get the train back down at a certain time. So we'll go in there, and it's always a good atmosphere and that in there. There's a good crew going, yeah.
Oh, I'm up for that. I tell you what, and I find my accent coming out a lot more as well. So, when I'm doing this and when I'm working down here, I try to pronounce all of the words as opposed to all words. Yeah, so, you know what I mean? So I could spend a weekend with them lads and get it all back. So I tell you what, then let's have some more stories, whether it's away days, home days, stuff like that. I want to hear some proper wrong and stories. Ones where you've gone, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. God, there's been I think Wembley this year, and just Covent Garden on the Friday night this year, like that whole weekend sort of escalated, didn't it? And as soon as we knew we got there, it were like I'm not one to shy away from attention as such, as all my mates know and things. But I thought, right, we're having this. I went obviously. When we lost to Hull, I just remember the Friday night. I went down, my old man were there, my mum and stuff. And the Friday night at Covent Garden then was brilliant. Like and all those that were coming down for this game are like, you need to get down on the Friday, mate. You need to come down, you need to get down early. It's such an epic day the day before. And yeah, the build up to that, I'd got. On Amazon, I've got smoke flares coming into school reception and stuff, and I'm smuggling them upstairs into my office and unwrapping it off Amazon. And they were, I think there were 50 beach balls come, bananas, and then all these smoke grenades and flares. I thought, right, we're having it in Covent Garden. And then the sort of mass things came about where I'd just made a few masks for the lads messing around. And it sort of spiraled out of control. I put it on Twitter, and then people were like messaging me going, "Oh, can I have some? Can I have some? And can we do them?" And I thought, "Wait."
You had a bag full of them, if I remember.
Yeah, that was it.
Outside Nag Z.
So that's exactly it. So hopefully no one from school listens to this, but I think I've run up the bill in the school printing them there. But I got hold of Shea's Triathlon. I thought, right, we'll do something good out of this, and said what we'll sell them for £1 and some beach balls, and we'll put the money in Shea's Triathlon. I think it raised about 200 and some £1 in the end. But yeah, we got to that were it. We got to Covent Garden. I got this backpack on, and it had beach balls, masks, pyros, smoke grenades, all sorts. And I think we got all the kids coming around, and they'd have a mask. Then they'd seen the pyros, and they were like, "Mom, I don't want a mask. I want one of them smoke flares he's got in it." Yeah, they knew what they were doing. Yeah. Just that night just got out of hand, didn't it? And it were mega. And there's a picture of me, which is it's going to go up on my living room wall soon when I get it printed out decent. But yeah, I'm stood there with two massive firework things on top of the plant pot, and someone at the back of Covent Gardens took the picture, and I'd not seen it until obviously later on, because you don't get signal that good, do you? And I was stood next to the chap that come from Australia, and he'd put it on his Twitter, and it just went mental. Then it blew up. Yeah, so no, it was just a mega weekend, weren't it? Topped off by the result. But yeah, that it was a good little story. Obviously, my dad was the reason why I supported Wednesday, and I got the opportunity, obviously, that the week before Wembley, just to phone him up, and I said, Dad, I've got you a ticket this time. I'm taking you to Wembley. And it was like, it was just it was a good feeling, and he was buzzing like I think he couldn't wait to get away from the missus. So he said, I'll stop at yours 2 nights as well. So no, it's good. He came down, and he had a good booze up and things, and no, it was just that night was mega.
That's Sunday the day before. You know what I mean? That Sunday night where you were there with the masks and the flares, and there was grown ass men well in their 50s climbing phone boxes and chanting. And there was something I noticed that I don't know. I made a video. I made like a collage of videos from the day and the weekend, and there was like a group of kids at the side of that. You got plant pot, and then you had the phone booth, and there was like something to stand on there next to the phone booth, right? And there was a group of about I want to say about 4 or 5 kids who were ranging between about 12 and 14, and all of them looked like a disgraced Tory MP, or like that they're already on the 3rd marriage. You know what I mean? You can tell they've been supporting Wednesday all their life because it had already aged them quite significantly. But I remember one of them had one of your flares on top of that phone booth, and he kind of got it, and he was like, I don't know what to do with this. They just stood there.
No, it was just something different every 5 or 10 minutes, weren't it? Someone else had 10 minutes of fame on top of the phone box and stuff. And then the police come, and there were no trouble whatsoever. It was just everyone having such a good time, and they obviously shut the pub, and then we're like, where are we going to go next? And you just hear a song break out further down the road on the left or something. We're like, right, we'll have a bit here, go there, and it was mega. And then it was funny going to the game the next day, actually, because for somehow I was then remembered as Mask Man. Like, have you got any more masks? Have you got any more flares? Walking down Wembley Way and stuff. Funny story was, but we started handing them out in the end, what we had left. And we saw this group of Barnsley fans, these old boys, to be fair. And I goes up with me and a few of my mates. We've got the masks. And he says, here, lads, have a picture, get these on. And they didn't really know what it were, but they were in the full Barnsley kits, but with Bannon, Byers, and I can't remember, Gregory masks over the face.
That Lee Gregory one was terrifying because it was him screaming, but with his mask on.
It was good, we had it was a Friday night. I got the missus making them, and I think we ended up with about 90 masks in the end. So that was good.
Absolutely amazing. So you've taken that bag down of the Nag's Head in Covent Garden, and you were just catering for the entire group of people that were there.
That were it. Listen, we're there for a good time, not a long time. All them that know me, it's one of my famous sayings. And God, there were beach balls going all over it. Just once we were a few beers deep, and that it was just such a good atmosphere. It's people you're not seen for ages, and that. But that's what Wednesday does to you. And like they say, it's like one big family, and it is. It's massive. And that night at Covent Garden, it was special. Just everything about it and that come with it, and then obviously the result and stuff the next day. It was what is going to be one of the best weekends of our lives forever. Well, best couple of weeks.
I'll tell you what, there's 2 bits that black out for me, and it's late on that Sunday for obvious reasons, and the actual game itself. I don't really remember much of the football. I was listening to the highlights going, I don't remember any of that.
We had exactly the same. Like, we're watching the game, and we're like, it didn't seem like a good game whatsoever. And it weren't the best of games, but like, I watched it back and I'm thinking, what? We had all these chances. I remember theirs. I remember that Norwood shot where Dawson did one of the best saves. I don't think that got enough credit. Like, he were diving behind him. It were in the top corner, and he saved that. But we had. It looked a lot better. We looked like we had a lot more chances on TV than from where I was at. But you can't. it's difficult to enjoy it when you're that engrossed in the match. Like, and yeah, at the end, I would just wait. Peterborough as well, like, and at Wembley. At the end of the game, those that know me know I'm a bit leery when it comes to starting songs and stuff like that, and I'm pretty all my. Well, I don't shut up normally all game, but yeah, at the end of the Peterborough game and at the end of the cup final, I was just sunk in my chair, just sobbing my eyes out. I ain't cried it out for a long time, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but yeah, it was just there were that much riding on it, and yeah, it was just such a massive emotional release of like, yeah, I don't know really what it were, but it were a mega feeling sort of thing, and yeah, one that if you could bottle it, it'd be worth a lot of money.
Do you know what? I felt that good. I actually felt bad for the Barnsley fans for not being able to share that feeling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I had an argument with a geezer the other week, and talking about comebacks, and they're like, well, loads of people have done it. Loads of people have done it. Like Man United did the comeback, Tottenham did the comeback, Liverpool did it. But what we did, the Peterborough comeback, and then to score in the last minute at Wembley, for me, that's two successive games where there's so much riding on each last kick of the game. That's never been done. I can't remember two games where the last kick of the game has meant so much. And I don't think it's ever going to get done again whilst I'm still around.
So, you know, there was a lot said after the 4-0 defeat. Yeah. And Darren Moore not sleeping and get a psychologist in to try and change the mentality of the players and stuff like that. And I feel like it's that type of thing. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Darren Moore had his faults, and we shouldn't have been in the position to be 4-0 down. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that element of what he did to the mentality of those players, I think we're going to miss that from him.
Oh no, the attention to detail and like that. I was sat behind Stevie at Peterborough away. And I just remembered, I looked to my left when I think it was 4-0. And there were 2 or 3 Wednesday fans scrapping with each other. I'm like, what's happening here? And then what got me even more is his little daughter would just turn to him and pushed her head into his lap, and she was crying her eyes out. And I looked at him and I went, oh man, what you must be feeling right now. And then I think like any Wednesday fan, I were just like gobsmacked on the night. To the next day I were angry. To the Monday I was like, well, this is where we are now. And then it was funny. I'd come home from Peterborough, and my missus, she was like, well, they've still got another game. I'm like, another game? You don't understand that we're 4-0 down. And I made the mistake. I was one of them idiots that said, well, if we get through this, I'll have a tattoo. I'll have your name tattooed on my foot. Oh, anyway, obviously, then
has it healed up then, or what?
It's not happened yet, but it's happened. But then, like the Wednesday come, and I've got like, if we score early, we've got this. And then like the Thursday coming up on the train, I'm like, it's going to be done. And I met my mate Liam at the train. We got there, and we walked past, and we got a burger before the game, and the geezer selling the burgers in the thing. Goes, you never know, you score early. Like I'm from Donny, me. Yeah, I'm not a Wednesday fan, but you score early, and we're like, yeah, you know what, we are. It's going to happen. And then, as we know, everything that had to happen for that miracle to happen happened. And so yeah, then I come back home after that, and I managed to spin the bet out of it. I said, look, if we win at Wembley, then I'll have your name tattooed on my foot. So we won at Wembley, and yeah, she's holding me to it, to that. But no,
Can I make a suggestion that the only information that you've given her is I'll have your name tattooed on my foot? Can you do it like Toy Story? You know, like he's got Andy written on the bottom of his foot. Can you have your missus' name in like kids handwriting all across the sole?
Yeah, that's it. Well, when it's done, I'll share a picture of it. But yeah, she's holding me to that one. And yeah, I'm a man of my word. It's going to get done. But
I can't wait for it. Yeah, I can't wait for it. So there was the Wembley final, there was the Peterborough comeback, but after that was the Champions League final. Now, you know, as you know, Sheffield Wednesday weren't there, but something happened on that day that I believe that you're involved with, and I won't be able to let you go without you telling this story.
Yeah, Well, it started actually the week after at the FA Cup final. My mate, he managed to sort some tickets out for the FA Cup final. Says, "Do you want to come?" Like, yeah, no worries. And he says, "Meet me at the Green Man." So I went up there for beer. He goes, "It's packed, come down here. I'm at the Hilton." And he gets in the Hilton, and I didn't know, but it's where it were like the players and families lounge of Man City. And we went to the game, but we went back in after. Anyway, obviously all the players started coming in. And my mate knows quite a few of them. And De Bruyne come over and they were talking. They were like, "Oh, we just support and stuff." And I said, "Well, I'm a Wednesday fan, but actually." And they were like, he started talking about the Peterborough game, which obviously all the world spoke about. And De Bruyne like, "Oh, it was a good game and that." And I was like, "Wow, Kevin De Bruyne's talking about Wednesday." And then night went on, and then somehow I managed to get a ticket for the Champions League final. Oh, no, sorry. De Bruyne was saying Louvens was his mate and stuff. So we got chatting a little bit about Wednesday. And then Scott Carson come over and he started talking about Wednesday. So he sort of obviously associated me with Sheffield Wednesday. And we got to the final. Anyway, 2 rows behind me sat is Glenn Louvens. I'm like, no way. And I'd ordered my dad a shirt for Wembley that didn't arrive in time. And the shirt come 2 days before I went to this Champions League final. I thought, well, I'm taking this. I can't ever see Wednesday being in a Champions League final, and I can't see myself going again. So I'm taking it, and I'm going to get a picture in it. Then obviously Louvens is behind us, and I says, "Glenn, any chance of a picture with this?" We're like, "No problem." And he were like, "Yeah," stood, posed with a picture, Glenn Louvens. And he says, "Oh, I've come to watch Kevin. Like my wife and his wife are real good friends." And we're like, "All right. No worries." Didn't really think much more of it. Puts that on Twitter then. I put, when, I can't remember, I put a tweet on with me and Leuven stood with a shirt. And then my mate had tickets to the after party, players after party after they'd won it. Anyway, I obviously high on life and plenty of beers. And De Bruyne walks over to us and starts chatting again. And he went, "Oh, it's the Wednesday fan from last week." I'm like, "What?" He remembered, and then we're like, "Yeah." I said, "Look at this picture of me and Glenn earlier with the shirt." And he was like laughing. And my mate, Joel, he's a big Wednesday fan. And De Bruyne, like, "Where's the shirt? We'll get it on. We'll wind Kyle up." So I got the shirt in my pocket. De Bruyne puts the shirt on, walking around after he's just won the Champions League. And Kyle Walker obviously is a big blade, and saw him, and he took it really well. Actually, it was a good bit of banter. But then obviously someone had videoed it, put it on a group WhatsApp, and it got on Twitter. And we were flying home from Istanbul.
So you'd not posted it? That weren't your video?
Yeah, we'd not posted that or anything. So obviously I lands in Stansted the next morning. And my phone, I looked at my phone and it just gone, I've got like messages galore, like missed calls. And then James from the corporate commercial section down at Wednesday had texted me saying, "Joe Cran's been in touch. I've sent him your number, mate. I hope you don't mind." Anyway, next thing I'm getting a message off Joe saying, "Do you mind telling us your story?" I'm like, "What's gone off here?" And then obviously some of the lads had sent this link through or whatever that De Bruyne wears a Wednesday shirt, and it had gone viral. And yeah, it were crackers actually. I think that I got someone from the Daily Mirror rang up and all sorts after. I was like, "No, we need to put the lid on this." Like, I didn't want much to do with it. Yeah, but no, it was good. So Man City won the treble. Probably when did it last? Well, one of the massive footballing achievements, and half the world are talking about Wednesday again just because the Man City's best player is celebrating in a Wednesday shirt. So I thought, yeah, my job there was done. I've done my bit to put the club on the map.
That is absolutely outstanding. I mean, it was a big few weeks for Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, the biggest comeback in playoff history. Yeah. Last kick of the game, and then all of it. Kevin De Bruyne wearing the shirt, getting rid of the gaffer. We've done some collar inches, haven't we? Like, you know what I mean?
But that's just the Wednesday way, isn't it? There's ups and downs, and like I say, no one saw. I don't think like what the news that come out the other Monday, and as we sit and talk here today, we've still not got a manager, but I don't think it's far away. But yeah, what's going to happen next. Do you know what I mean? What a sequel this last sort of 6-8 weeks has been, especially for me as a football fan. Yeah, it's
honestly, it's been insane. Brace yourself for like a sensational Tony Pulis return or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
no, that's it.
We just kind of shrug your shoulders and go, "Yeah, of course, sure."
Yeah, I actually, I've seen I just seen a tweet before I come on, and obviously that Isco has been touted, and I like the songs and stuff. And someone put, "Let's all have a disco, Parma Ban and Isco," and I think, yeah, if he gets it, that's good. We're gonna get that started at Southampton at home.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Ben, thanks a lot for joining me tonight, man. It's been an
No
absolute
worries.
pleasure.
See you at Mabel's Tavern. See ya.
Yeah, I'll see you there, defo.